Next on Worcester News tonight, a 15-year-old boy is found dead after a fire in Millbury. The new information we're learning tonight. Plus, businesses surrounding Kelley Square respond to the proposed road construction plan, with parking being a major concern. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Brittany Schaefer. We begin tonight in Millbury, where officials are still searching for answers following the death of a 15-year-old boy. Tonight, the Worcester County District Attorney's Office releasing his identity as James Belanger. Friday, our Chandler Walsh spoke to the fire chief, who says they still have questions. Let's send it over to her now with more details. Chandler?
Brittany, Millbury's fire chief says he wants to know the whole story to prevent something similar from happening. He says it's a tragedy, but the community is coming together. Police tape surrounds the Millbury home where 15-year-old James Belanger was found dead after a fire Saturday. Millbury Fire Chief Richard Hamilton says the cause of the fire is still being investigated and there are missing pieces to the puzzle.
He was in the living room where the fire started, near several doors. So we don't know the details on why he couldn't have got to any of those doors, and we'd like to know that.
When fire crews arrived, the teen's parents and brother were outside. Chief Hamilton says they woke up to smoke detectors. The father tried putting out the fire and says he didn't see the boy.
We later found the body on the other side of the sofa. So there's a good possibility that there was enough smoke and fire that he just didn't see anybody back there.
Homeowners told the department there was someone still inside. Firefighters searched but didn't find the body until they put out the fire.
Our reports were that there was somebody in the house. We've later learned that there was reports to other people that the son had gone out for the night and they were trying to find him. So there was conflicts right off the bat.
The community is coming together to mourn. Belanger was in the Goddard Cadet Squadron, and his commander says he was a role model to his peers.
He was kind of a ray of light. Like I said, he interacted very, very well with his peers, and they all smiled when he was around.
He says Belanger had a strong impact and will be missed.
I believe he had aspirations of becoming an Air Force pilot. He was taking some orientation flights that Civil Air Patrol offers.
The Cadet Squadron will have chaplains at their next meeting for cadets and parents. The Worcester County District Attorney's Office says they're still waiting on an autopsy report from the Chief Medical Examiner. Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
Turning our attention to weather now. Friday was another chilly December day, and temperatures will continue to fall into below freezing this weekend. For more on that, let's send it over to meteorologist Tim Kelley.
There is a Texas-sized storm over Texas right now. Rain and ice coming out of the plain states going across the southeast. That storm is going to miss us. We're getting a fresh shot of cold air outside tonight. Our air coming from Canada. We did get that little bit of a dusting of snow last night, a lot of us. Today we had these Great Lake effect snows going on, and for us it was just a total blue sky. The clouds evaporated over the Berkshires, and that is the symbol for a moon. We have a tiny little crescent moon in the sky. This weekend it's a new moon, and that means the tide is running strong, but no storms. About 23 outside right now and going down about a degree or two an hour. So if you're still out between 10 and 11 o'clock tonight, temperatures 20 to 25 degrees. The wind has been gusting to 30 miles per hour. Overnight it does stay breezy, but it's going to be less windy tomorrow. Coldest morning since the day after Thanksgiving, going down to 10 to 15 overnight tonight. Tomorrow morning the sun is out. We get to about 22 by lunchtime. Wind is still going offshore, but the high-pressure system is going to go right over us. So tomorrow afternoon, as the sun goes down around 4 o'clock, have a few clouds starting to increase. Slightly less cold air is coming in for Sunday, and we keep the sunshine in the forecast in a few minutes.
What appears to be a single car accident causing some heavy delays on I-290 Friday morning. These photos show a vehicle being towed away right before exit 14. Crews were cleaning up the debris left on the highway. A large skid mark could be seen on the ramp wall. The accident closed the right lane of 290. No word yet if there were any injuries. National Grid and the Department of Conservation and Recreation are teaming together to save trees. They say recent insect infestations are killing trees across the state, and Friday they held a workshop to educate residents. Our Rosalind Flaherty joins us live now with more. Rosalind?
Brittany, certain insects like gypsy moths are creating hazardous situations for people, and they hope to work with communities to help the problem. Recent insect infestations are killing trees across Massachusetts, creating hazards for homeowners and utility companies alike. It's why National Grid and the Department of Conservation and Recreation are working to educate people.
The communities have a lot of trees that are dying out there, and it's not just limbs that are failing, it's whole trees that are failing.
Friday, National Grid held a workshop with town officials to discuss the growing problem of tree mortality. Nicole Kelleher is a forester with DCR. She says gypsy moths and the emerald ash borer are destroying trees. There has been a gypsy moth outbreak since 2015. Kelleher says it seems to be getting better, but in 2018, the state had 160,000 acres of gypsy moth defoliation.
Once gypsy moth stresses a tree out, it removes its ability to fight off some of our native insects and funguses, which eventually cause the mortality of the tree.
DCR also mapped out about 900 acres of ash trees killed by the emerald ash borer, a beetle native to Asia.
Ash become somewhat brittle when they die and are a bit more challenging for removals, so it is hard on communities.
National Grid says trees, especially oaks, are falling on roadways, wires, and in people's backyards. They've seen an increase in the last 2 years. The utility company is hoping to work with communities to remove the hazardous trees and identify the pests early to make a plan of how to eradicate the problem.
Very devastating, especially if it's the main backbone part of the circuit. Poles can come down, transformers can come down, it can cause outages to thousands of people.
Now, the good news in all of this is DCR says there have been no signs of the Asian longhorn beetle this year. Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
It's a day that lives in infamy. Today marks the 77th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. On December 7, 1941, the Imperial Japanese Navy bombed the U.S. naval base in a preemptive action to keep the U.S. Pacific Fleet from interfering with Japan's planned military actions in Southeast Asia. 8 U.S. Navy battleships were damaged in the strike, with 4 ships sinking. 2,403 Americans were killed and another 1,178 were injured. The attack also led to the United States' entry into World War II. The reconstruction of Kelley Square isn't scheduled for another year, but some businesses in the area say they are already concerned about how it will affect traffic. One major concern is the lack of parking spots already in the Canal District, let alone during the construction period. Our Olivia Lemon joins us now with more. Olivia?
Brittany, for anyone who has driven through Kelley Square, they know just how confusing it can be. Some businesses are hopeful the reconfiguration will bring more customers to the area, but in the meantime, they're worried about how they'll get there during construction. For more than 40 years, Mark Rufo has run his business on Water Street in Worcester. His customers park on the street, and should Kelley Square be redesigned to accommodate construction of a minor league ballpark, he's nervous they won't be able to find a spot nearby.
Right now, the plans don't look too good.
Rufo says MassDOT's most recent concept for the Kelley Square project would take away 14 spots his customers use.
Right now, if you go over there, you'll see all parking here, and all parking in the front here and on the side here.
The plan would transform the center of the intersection to resemble the shape of a peanut.
It's an issue already, and they're going to make it worse. A lot worse. Yeah.
Across the street at Wings Over Worcester, General Manager Ray Jackson says parking is also an issue for his delivery drivers.
For us, it's one hindrance to have so much traffic. It's a little difficult for our drivers, but on the other hand, that means businesses coming into the area, and the area is flourishing. And that's impressive.
He's hoping MassDOT's new plan will help solve the traffic and safety concerns of Kelley Square.
It's an enigma for people coming from outside the city. They're like, Kelley Square, I'm not sure if I want to go through Kelley Square. And, it's be nice if people say, you know what, I want to go through Kelley Square. I want to see what's down there and have them be invited to the area.
For now, the two businesses say the most they can do is hope for the best for the city's most talked about intersection.
I'm hoping it's beneficial to some extent.
I'm all for the Paw Sox coming and the Red Sox coming, as long as it's done right.
Now, both K&N Supply and Wings Over Worcester are on Water Street, which is a one-way street, so the only way you can get there is to go through Kelley Square. Both businesses say they're hopeful whatever MassDOT chooses for the reconfiguration, it will help flow traffic. Olivia Lemon, Worcester News Tonight.
St. Vincent Hospital found a fun way to raise money for an important cause Friday by throwing pies in their bosses' faces. Dozens participated in the event benefiting the United Way. Anyone who donated $5 could smash a plate full of whipped cream in the face of a hospital leader. Chief Human Resources Officer Mike Baruta says it's a lighthearted way to support an organization who gives back to the community and to those in need.
They're enjoying it a little too much. They're having a great time, and everyone who's participated, they realize they're donating to a good cause, and a lot of nice and fun banter and good morale builder for our team.
The holiday season is always a good time to think about the blessings that we've got and to realize that there's so much we can give other folks in need. It's a perfect time.
The hospital was also auctioning off artwork for the United Way fundraiser. A neighborhood in Worcester is bringing back the sense of community this holiday season. The Indian Lake Community Association is hosting a holiday celebration on West Boylston Drive this Saturday and next Saturday. Hundreds of flyers were sent out to residents in the vicinity. Host Carl Gomes says the event will have music, a fire pit with s'mores, a variety of food, and a crafts table for children.
I don't want to live in a neighborhood and have people that I've lived next to 30, 40 years, and I only know the next left to the right. I want to know my neighbors. I want to connect. I want to be a sense of family, and that's what this is all about.
Not only as a person who lives in this neighborhood, my business is also located in this neighborhood. I feel it's a duty to do the best we can to keep this neighborhood in good spirits.
People in the neighborhood who have lived there for decades or just a few months say it's important to celebrate the holidays with those around you.
We bought my home in 1964. I think we need to get together, it's true. We don't know our neighbors, and face-to-face is the best.
I just moved here about 6 months ago, and we had this little guy, and it's a really great opportunity to get to know our neighbors and just get connected into a new town.
The event goes from 4 to 6 p.m. Gomes says all neighborhoods should have block parties like they did in the past.